My question's about color consultants. Where do you find them?
Mhm.
How do you pay them? Is it a contract thing? Makes sense to me that it would be. In terms of it seems as though what's inevitably going to happen is you're going to find your color consultant up naturally upselling, right? Because as the creative juices start flowing, all of a sudden we're painting this or adding this, which is great. But then my question is, how much do you inform them about pricing? Do you just let them stir the imagination and then add these change orders after? Just any feedback about color
Mhm.
consoles?
This is a great question. I love this. So the question is, how do you use color consultants, decorators to double your business faster? First, how do you find them? Great question. Ideally, you want to find new up and coming, and I'll explain why in a minute. You find them at usually chamber events. Chamber networking is the best place that I found decorators and color consultants. Next, when you find them, the up and comers, you connect them and you meet with them and you say, listen, I am looking for a color consultant and designer that I can work with to introduce to my clients and hopefully work out an arrangement with. Meaning, I want to offer your services to my clients and get your foot in the door because it does open them up for more work. And ideally, they'll set you up with a deal. And for us, like way back in the day, it was $50, and then it was like $100. It might be 100, 150 now, but they give you a discounted price for the relationship for setting it up. Okay. Now, over the years, these guys, they are guys, gals, for us, there's always ladies. They'll get busy, they'll get going, they'll get busy, and they won't be able to fulfill that relationship anymore because they outgrow it. They've outgrown it, and that's okay. That's understandable. So you go back to the chamber or BNI, and you find another new up and comer who's eager to get out there and get after it, do whatever it takes to get going. And this works out as a fair arrangement to them. So hear me, it's not like we're ripping them off. It's a win because it does get their foot in the door with nice clients who need their drapes and rugs and take out their furniture and whatever else the magazines and TV programs tell them they should be buying. Okay. Now, the other part of this, and this is one of my favorite parts of the designer decorator, is it's also a closing tool. And we've talked about sales processes. We have a sales system in the cafe, and some of you guys have gone through it. But at one thing that I'll offer them is I'll say, listen, if you sign with me right now, I will pay for a designer to come out and to help you to select the perfect color for your home so that you won't make the wrong decision. Okay? So smiley bobblehead face, yes, to get for the clothes, and they love it. They absolutely love that because they ask me like, Steve, you only pick out the colors. I'm like, no, you don't only pick out any colors. They're like, but you're a painter, you're a painting company. I said, yeah, we understand how to properly prepare and apply paint, not decorate. Haven't you done 1,000 homes? And haven't you been in 1,000 homes? Don't you have friends and family? It's the same thing when it comes to decorating. Because the truth is, I don't want the liability. I don't want anything to do with the liability of picking out colors. No, it's cost me way too much money in the past trying to help somebody pick out colors. I don't like that. Whatever you picked out. Oh, you chose it. I was just guiding you, but I guess now I own it, so we get to repaint it. But no. So instead, use the decorator, color consultant as a closing tool as well. And it's a win all the way around. Now, pricing. A couple things to do is once you have your new arrangement with a color consultant is you say, okay, one is please keep them away from the deep bases. No deep bases. Okay. Let's stay in the pastels to mid colors, please. So for easy application, appreciate that. And that's really all we coached him on. Now, Paul Dibdahl, he's another mastermind group. He loves to share the story of the decorator he works with. Now he's in the greater Los Angeles area and he's got this or had this great big, this flamboyant decorator, right? And he was just larger than life with his personality. And he'd always ask them, he'd always say, what's Paul charging? What's Paul charging? They'd tell him, he go, oh, goodness, that's a steal. So he always had his back, and that was just really cool. And so your decorator is going to have your back too when you find a good person. It's the same thing too with hiring for character. So circle back, it's find them at the chamber or BNIs, up and comers, connect with them, invite them for coffee or lunch, tell them you want to get to know them, and then lay out the idea that you have for them, and you work something out for maybe $100 or maybe it's 150, depending on your market pop. And then you can also use it as a sales tool and then give them kind of coach them on some guidelines. All right, Sonia, decorator, would you have anything to add to that?
But I do, as far as when you mentioned about because I'm all in one pretty much, and that's my differentiation is that I'm able to either, so I've been able to segue in there, like I do color consultations and all of a sudden I can segue and get a project going, but definitely set up the guidelines as far as I love that little tidbit and pro tip about don't stay away from the deep bases because you can run into some little hiccups there too.
Especially with decorators. Decorators love deep bases. Tell them no.
I do too, just in
Yeah.
small spots, not
Yeah.
like
Okay. I
everywhere.
like small. Yeah, I don't mind small spots. Yeah.
Sometimes we
Court.
have a
The
media
court.
room.
Yep. No more
So
than a
we
court.
Yes. No, but as far as, yeah, develop that relationship and just coach them. Because I worked, that's how I started into this, was I worked for a paint company and as I subcontracted for them. And that was, they set up the guidelines, is how much for the colors, no more than 2 colors or 3 colors. It's more than 3 colors, it's $100 more, or whatever it is that you upcharge for another color, whatever is given in there. And if you charge more for any color change other than the paste, trims and sealing, then let them know, let them set it up for them so that they know exactly what you want. Because I ran into some of that too when I was working with them. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I forgot that step. Oh, I forgot. Just lay it out for them. And what's nice is they like let me have a guideline to say, look, these are the things to look for. This is how we want you to come in there. They also go in. I know it's hard because they had color consultations available with in-house, but they took me on a few projects to show me this is the expectation, this is what I'm looking for, and this is how the color consultation goes. But just set it up for them and let them know, and they'll be able to help, like he said, have your back for you and get that and happy customer.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you, Sonia.
One
Craig?
one thing I'd add is just make sure the client knows that it's like a maximum of 1 hour or however long you'd like. Maximum of
True.
1 hour, and then anything over and above that, the interior designer will bill you directly.
True. Good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's a tip. And also tell them to stay away from Chantilly lace. You can coach them that if they delve into the deeper colors, they can just give the heads up to the customer that it's going to take more coats, it's going to take more time. You might have to, so and so, like Chris might have to come back and revise the estimate just to account for this. If you really want this, we can do it, but just be aware that'll be an extra charge. So just a couple little extra tidbits.
Right on. Awesome. Are you good,
Yeah.
Chris? Is that helpful?
It's super helpful. What about in terms of just directing them in terms of from a decorator's perspective? I'd imagine they walk into a place and, oh, well, this needs a backsplash. Oh, well, this needs new flooring. Like you said, we're basically telling them we're not doing these deep bases. Let's steer towards this direction. We're focused on paint. Is that just, we're just guiding them in terms of we're not doing extreme home makeover or whatever here. We're doing specifically painting. Is that kind of the idea? Or
Yeah,
is
that's
it?
never been an issue for me. And I think something needs a backsplash or whatever, then I don't want anything to do with that. It doesn't fall
Yeah.
within my 3Ps as far as managing or referring. So if they've got a carpenter or tile person that they work with, then that's their rodeo. I'd say, okay,
Cool.
awesome. You guys have fun with that. We're going to stick with what we do, crush it, move forward. So good questions, Chris.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys.